Actress and icon Farrah Fawcett died this morning after a long battle with cancer.
Beauty epitomized an era. Farrah Fawcett died today, losing a hard-fought battle with anal cancer.
For millions around the world, Farrah Fawcett was perfection. The sun-kissed smile, the flowing blonde hair, and that iconic red swimsuit poster that made her the face of an era. She was Hollywood's golden girl, the woman every man adored and every woman admired. But behind that dazzling smile was a story far darker, far lonelier, and far more human than anyone ever knew. Long before the fame, Farrah was just a Texas girl with big dreams and a kind heart. But when the spotlight found her, it didn't just illuminate her beauty, it exposed her pain. Behind every magazine cover and television appearance, she was fighting battles the cameras never caught: betrayal, heartbreak, illness, and a struggle for control in an industry that often treated her like an image, not a person. To the world, she was the confident angel who could charm anyone. To those who truly knew her, she was fragile, introspective, and searching for peace in a world that demanded perfection. When the cameras stopped rolling, Farrah faced loneliness that no amount of fame could fill. Her love life, especially her turbulent relationship with actor Ryan O'Neal, became both her greatest passion and her deepest wound. And in her final years, as she battled a devastating illness, she showed a strength few expected, courage that went far beyond her glamorous facade. This is not the story of a starlet. This is the story of a woman who burned brighter than anyone, but paid the price for it: the fame, the love, the pain, and the shocking truth about how Hollywood's brightest angel lived, loved, and left the world far too soon before she became the poster girl of the 1970s. Before the fame, the chaos, and the heartbreak, Farrah Fawcett was simply a Texas girl with a dream. Born in Corpus Christi in 1947, she grew up in a close-knit family that valued faith, hard work, and humility. Her father, a contractor, and her mother, a homemaker, never imagined their daughter's face would one day be recognized around the world. From an early age, Farrah had something special, a light that drew people in. Her beauty was undeniable, but it was her warmth, her kindness, and her down-to-earth charm that made everyone who met her feel like they'd known her forever. In high school, she was a cheerleader, beloved by teachers and classmates alike. She didn't crave attention. It just seemed to follow her. When she attended the University of Texas, Farrah's natural beauty caught the attention of photographers. Soon, her pictures began circulating across campus, and one of them eventually reached Hollywood. It wasn't long before talent scouts came calling. Her friends and professors urged her to take the leap, and with a mix of excitement and fear, she did. Hollywood in the late 1960s was a glittering yet unforgiving place, especially for young women. The industry often valued appearance over talent, charm over authenticity. Farrah's smile opened doors, but what few realized was how fiercely ambitious and intelligent she was. She wanted more than to be just another pretty face. She wanted to earn her place among the stars. Her early career wasn't glamorous. She appeared in small TV roles and commercials, toothpaste ads, hair products, anything that would help her pay rent. Yet every director she worked with noticed something magnetic about her. The camera didn't just like Farrah, it adored her. Then in 1976, everything changed. She landed the role of Jill Monroe in Charlie's Angels, a television show that would define a generation. Almost overnight, Farrah became a household name. Her golden hair, confident stride, and megawatt smile turned her into a symbol of the era, the embodiment of California sunshine and female independence. The famous red swimsuit poster, released the same year, became one of the best-selling posters of all time. 12 million copies sold. That single image, Farrah with her effortless smile and natural beauty, wasn't just a photograph. It was a cultural phenomenon. Boys taped it to their bedroom walls. Women copied her hairstyle. Everyone wanted to be her. But fame came with a price. Farrah's sudden rise catapulted her into a world she wasn't prepared for. Endless interviews, flashing cameras, and relentless pressure to stay perfect. Behind the glamour, she was struggling to find her footing in an industry that rarely gave women control over their own careers. She wanted challenging roles, but producers only saw her as the pretty blonde. Even with all the adoration, Farrah was deeply private. Fame made her uneasy. She didn't enjoy the parties, the gossip, or the spotlight. She preferred quiet evenings, art, and time with close friends. Yet she couldn't escape the image Hollywood had built around her. Her marriage to actor Lee Majors, star of the $6 Million Man, only added to the fascination. They were one of Hollywood's most glamorous couples, beautiful, successful, and always in the public eye. But the reality behind the scenes was far more complex. Farrah's fame quickly began to eclipse Lee's, and that imbalance created strain. While she was becoming the most famous woman in America, her personal life was beginning to crack. Still, during this golden period, Farrah Fawcett became a symbol of empowerment, even if she didn't intend to. She proved that a woman could be beautiful and strong, vulnerable and powerful. She refused to renew her Charlie's Angels contract after just one season, shocking everyone. "I wanted to grow," she later said. "I wanted to be taken seriously. It was a bold move, and one that few women in Hollywood would have dared to make at the time. But that choice would also mark the beginning of Farrah's complicated relationship with fame, a relationship filled with triumph, rebellion, and pain that the world never truly understood. Farrah Fawcett's smile could light up a room, but behind it lived a woman who often felt lost in her own fame. The world adored her, yet she struggled to find genuine love and peace. Her marriage to Lee Majors, once a fairy tale union of two Hollywood stars, slowly became strained under the weight of success and conflicting priorities. Lee Majors was already a television icon when Farrah began her rise. At first, he was her protector, introducing her to agents, helping her navigate the industry, and making sure she didn't get taken advantage of. But as Farrah's popularity skyrocketed, the dynamic shifted. She became the brighter star, and the press couldn't get enough of her. Every photo, every event, every headline had her name, not his. The distance between them grew both emotionally and physically. Lee's busy filming schedule and Farrah's new commitments meant they rarely saw each other. The spark that had once made them Hollywood's golden couple began to fade. Friends recalled that Farrah, despite all her beauty and fame, often sat alone in her dressing room, quietly reading or sketching between takes. Their separation was painful but inevitable. By 1979, their marriage was over. And though neither spoke publicly about the details, insiders said the breakup shattered Farrah. She had always believed in love, in partnership, in something real beyond the flashing cameras. The divorce left a void that fame could never fill. It was around this time that Farrah met actor Ryan O'Neal, a charismatic leading man known for his charm, intensity, and equally volatile temper. The two had undeniable chemistry. They fell deeply in love, and for a while it seemed like Farrah had found the connection she had been yearning for. Their relationship was passionate, magnetic, and at times chaotic. Ryan admired Farrah's independence, but he also struggled with her fame. Both were strong personalities, and their arguments became legendary in Hollywood circles. Yet no matter how heated things got, they always found their way back to each other. Together they had a son, Redmond, in 1985, a moment Farrah later described as the most profound joy of her life. But even as she embraced motherhood, Farrah's world continued to unravel. Her career began to shift as she took on more serious roles, desperate to break free from the blonde bombshell label. Her performance in The Burning Bed, 1984, shocked audiences and critics alike. Playing a woman who set her abusive husband on fire after years of domestic violence, Farrah earned critical acclaim and an Emmy nomination. For the first time, Hollywood began to see her not just as a beauty, but as an artist. Yet behind the professional success, her personal life grew darker. Ryan's jealousy, their on-and-off relationship, and constant tabloid intrusion took their toll. Farrah wanted stability. Ryan wanted freedom. Their love was real, but it was also destructive. They broke up and reunited multiple times over the years, their connection too deep to end cleanly and too stormy to last peacefully. In interviews, Farrah often smiled when asked about Ryan, saying, "He's the love of my life." But her friends knew that those words came with pain. She loved deeply, sometimes too deeply. Her trust, once broken, never fully healed. As Redmond grew older, he began to struggle as well. The pressures of having famous parents, combined with exposure to Hollywood's darker side, led him into addiction and legal troubles. Farrah tried desperately to save her son, to be the kind of mother who could protect him from the world that had once chewed her up. But the battle seemed endless, leaving her emotionally drained. The tabloids, relentless as ever, painted Farrah as unstable, even eccentric. They called her difficult, said she was past her prime. But those close to her knew she was simply tired. Tired of being misunderstood. Tired of the lies. Tired of trying to live up to an image that had never truly been her own. She once told a close friend, "People see the smile, the hair, the poster, but they don't see me. They don't see how hard it is to keep being Farrah Fawcett, the late 199th." And she did exactly that. Farrah began documenting her journey, not as a celebrity seeking attention, but as a woman confronting mortality with courage and honesty. Along with close friend Alana Stewart, she recorded every step, from the grueling treatments in the U.S. to her trips to Germany for experimental therapies. This footage later became the Emmy-nominated documentary Farrah's Story. The film shocked audiences with its rawness. It wasn't polished or glamorous, it was human. Viewers saw her, losing her hair, her strength, and at times her hope, but never her spirit. She faced each painful treatment with an unwavering determination, often comforting others even as she suffered. Her laughter, even in the darkest moments, became a symbol of bravery. Ryan O'Neal, the man who had caused her so much heartbreak, returned to her side. Their complicated love found a kind of peace in those final years. He stayed with her through hospital visits and long nights of uncertainty. Ryan often said later, "She never complained. She was the toughest person I've ever known." Despite their turbulent past, the bond between them deepened. In those final months, the anger and jealousy faded, replaced by something purer, love stripped of ego. Ryan even proposed to her again in 2009, hoping to marry the woman he'd loved for over 30 years. But fate had other plans. Farrah's main focus, even in illness, was her son, Redmond. She worried constantly about him, his struggles with addiction, his legal troubles, his pain. She wrote letters to him, prayed for him, and told friends her greatest fear wasn't dying. It was leaving him behind, unprotected. Her maternal instinct never dimmed, even when her strength did. In her final interviews, Farrah spoke with clarity and grace. "You learn what really matters," she said. "Not the fame, not the beauty, but love, kindness, and truth." Those who saw her in those final months said her spirit seemed almost peaceful, as if she had finally made peace with the chaos of her past. By June 2009, her condition had worsened. Surrounded by Ryan, her family, and a few trusted friends, Farrah Fawcett took her last breath at St. John's Health Center in Santa Monica. She was 62 years old. Just hours later, the media world was consumed by another shocking death, Michael Jackson. Farrah's passing was overshadowed in headlines, and her story, tragically, didn't get the farewell it deserved. Yet those who loved her knew the truth. Farrah's courage had changed lives. Her documentary raised awareness for a cancer few talked about. Her bravery inspired countless patients to keep fighting, and her vulnerability reminded the world that even icons bleed, love, and fear, just like everyone else. In the end, Farrah Fawcett's battle wasn't about losing. It was about how she fought, with honesty, strength, and grace. She didn't just face cancer, she faced the truth of her own humanity. Ryan O'Neal later said in tears, "She never really left. I still feel her everywhere. The woman who once embodied beauty became a symbol of something far greater: courage, authenticity, and love that transcended pain. Farrah Fawcett's final act was not a goodbye. It was a testament to how a true star shines brightest in the dark. Farrah Fawcett's passing in 2009 marked the end of an era, but her spirit refused to fade. Even in death, her presence lingered. In the hearts of her fans, in the causes she championed, and in the faces of every woman who saw strength in her vulnerability. When people think of Farrah, many remember the dazzling smile, the flowing hair, and that famous 1976 poster that sold over 12 million copies, making it one of the most iconic images in pop culture history. But those who truly knew her remember something far deeper: her kindness, her empathy, and her quiet determination to live life on her own terms. After her death, the world began to reflect not just on her beauty, but on her impact. She was more than a pinup. She was a fighter, an artist, and a trailblazer. Long before Hollywood began talking about women's empowerment, Farrah was already living it. She dared to challenge the system that tried to define her. In the late 1970s, when she walked away from Charlie's Angels at the height of her fame, it was unheard of. The producers were furious, the press called her reckless, and critics said her career was over. But Farrah didn't care about playing it safe. She wanted to prove that she was more than a pretty face on television, and she did. Her Emmy-nominated performances in The Burning Bed and Small Sacrifices changed how Hollywood viewed women in serious roles. She chose scripts that exposed real issues: domestic abuse, addiction, trauma, long before those conversations were common. In doing so, she opened doors for actresses who came after her, showing that strength and femininity could coexist. Even in her final years, Farrah continued to challenge expectations. Her documentary, Farrah's Story, aired just weeks before her death and became a raw, emotional testament to resilience. It wasn't edited to make her look glamorous. It was real: the pain, the hope, the laughter through tears. She allowed the world to see her not as a star, but as a woman facing death with honesty. That decision alone made her a hero to millions. Cancer survivors around the world wrote letters to her family thanking Farrah for giving them courage. Support groups were named in her honor, and research foundations began to focus on the specific cancer she battled. In facing her illness publicly, she gave others permission to do the same. Her family and friends also ensured that her legacy continued through the Farrah Fawcett Foundation, which supports cancer research, prevention, and patient care. Ryan O'Neal and Alana Stewart became key figures in keeping her memory alive. The Foundation's mission was exactly what Farrah wanted: to turn her pain into purpose. Her son, Redmond, though deeply affected by her loss and his own struggles, has often spoken of how much she loved him. Despite everything, Farrah's greatest legacy was not fame or beauty. It was her unconditional love as a mother. She once said, "If I've done anything right in this world, it's Redmond." Over time, the world began to see Farrah differently. Younger generations discovered her not just as the woman from the poster, but as an actress who fought to redefine what it meant to be a woman in Hollywood. Her career became a study in reinvention, from sitcom sweetheart to serious actress to brave documentarian. And perhaps most beautifully, her story reminded everyone that perfection is an illusion. The woman who once symbolized flawless beauty became the face of raw humanity. She taught people that true strength lies in authenticity, in facing life's storms without losing your grace. In 2019, 10 years after her passing, fans gathered in Texas and Los Angeles to celebrate her life. They shared stories of how she inspired them, some through her roles, others through her bravery. Many said that watching Farrah's story changed how they viewed illness, fame, and even mortality. Ryan O'Neal, still visibly emotional when speaking about her, said, "She was the love of my life. I miss her every day. Farrah was sunshine even when clouds tried to cover her, and perhaps that's how she should be remembered." as sunlight, warm, radiant, and fleeting, but powerful enough to change everything it touched. Farrah Fawcett didn't just live a Hollywood life. She lived a human one, full of love, heartbreak, triumph, and loss. And in her courage, she left behind something timeless. The reminder that behind every perfect smile lies a story worth telling, and behind every fallen angel, there's a legacy that never fades.